Walk into a traditional Chinese home and you might notice something. Not something missing, something absent on purpose. Objects that other households would keep, a stopped clock, a leaking pot, a plant past its life, tend to disappear quickly in a Chinese home. Not always with explanation, not always with ceremony, just quietly gone. Some of these habits stretch back over 1,000 years, to Confucian ideas about family harmony, to Taoist principles about how a home should breathe, to the practical wisdom of generations who understood that the objects inside a home are never quite neutral. Others are much simpler. A sound in the language. A memory passed without words. A thing a grandmother always did, that her daughter now does too. Here are 15 things many Chinese families avoid keeping at home, and the quiet reasons behind each one. Number 1. Broken clocks. Picture a stopped wall clock in an old family apartment in Chengdu. The hands have not moved in weeks. It will not stay there long. A broken or stopped clock tends to be replaced quickly in many Chinese homes, not because of the inconvenience, but because of what a stopped clock represents. In Mandarin, the phrase for giving a clock as a gift, songjong, is a near-perfect homophone for the phrase meaning attending a funeral. That single sound coincidence shaped how clocks were understood inside Chinese culture for centuries. A ticking clock was fine. A stopped one was too close to an ending. The deeper instinct here is about momentum, the sense that a home should feel like a place where life continues forward, where time still moves. Many younger Chinese families today may not think about the homophone at all, but a stopped clock still feels wrong in a way that is hard to explain, so it gets replaced. That feeling is the tradition, still alive. Number 2, dead or dying plants. You know the one. The plant in the corner that nobody has really looked at in weeks. A few brown leaves, the soil dry. Everyone has quietly agreed not to mention it. In many Chinese households, that plant would be gone before it got that far. Living plants, bamboo, jade plants, the money tree, the lotus, have been part of Chinese domestic life for thousands of years, not purely for decoration, but as living things inside the home, symbols of vitality, of growth, of a household that was still flourishing. A dying plant carried the opposite image. Something that once lived and is now slowly ending, placed at the center of daily life. It is not superstition exactly. It is more like, why would you choose that image for your home? In Chinese apartments today, a struggling plant is often moved outside, revived properly, or quietly replaced, not because anyone is afraid, but because a home should feel alive, and a dying plant in the corner quietly says something else. Number 3. Cracked mirrors. This one has a story behind it. There is a classical Chinese phrase, pojing chongyuan, which translates roughly as a broken mirror made whole again. It is used to describe a separated couple who find each other after a long time apart. The phrase itself reveals what a cracked mirror came to mean: division, departure, the image of a family separated from itself. Polished bronze mirrors first appeared in elite Chinese households during the Han Dynasty, over 2,000 years ago. Over time, the mirror became a symbol of household unity, a clear, unbroken surface reflecting a complete picture. Crack it, and that picture fractures. A cracked mirror in a bedroom, quietly replaced before the week is out. No dramatic announcement, just handled. That is still the instinct in many Chinese homes today. A cracked mirror is not repaired. It is replaced. Because a complete reflection matters. Number 4. Old calendars from the previous year. In the days before Lunar New Year, something happens in many Chinese homes. The old calendar comes down from the wall. It is part of Shaochen, the annual Great Sweep, a tradition of cleaning the entire home before the new year arrives, clearing out not just dust, but the stale energy of the year that is ending. An old calendar was never just a counting tool. In Chinese culture, the lunar calendar carried meaning. Auspicious days, seasonal rhythms, the right time to begin a journey or seal an agreement. Keeping the old one on the wall into the new year felt like refusing to let the old year go. Like standing at the threshold of a new beginning, still holding on to what had already ended. The gesture of taking it down is small, but the feeling behind it is not. A new year deserves a clean wall, a home ready to begin again. Number 5. Empty medicine bottles and containers. After an illness passes, many Chinese families do something that might seem small. They clear the medicine from the cabinet. Not during the illness. After, when recovery is real. Empty pill bottles, finished medicine containers. They are removed from the visible space of the home, sometimes promptly, sometimes ceremonially. The idea is simple. Once the illness is gone, it should not be allowed to linger visually inside the home. Traditional Chinese thinking about the household environment emphasized that the space where a family lived could either support or undermine health. An empty medicine bottle is not dangerous, but it is a reminder. And a home oriented toward health and wholeness does not need that kind of reminder on its shelves. Many older Chinese relatives, when visiting family, will quietly clear a kitchen cabinet that has accumulated too many empty pill containers without being asked. Not because they believe in any formula, but because a home that looks and feels healthy is a better place to heal and to stay well. Those first 5 items are all about the same underlying instinct. Remove what belongs to endings, illness, or time already past. Keep the home oriented toward the living. But the next group is different. These are about something the Chinese home takes very seriously. The threshold, the entrance, the invisible line between the outside world and the life inside. Number 6. Worn-out shoes left near the entrance. The entrance to a Chinese home is not just a door. In traditional Chinese architecture, the threshold was considered a boundary of real significance. The place where the household faced the world, where guests were received, where the energy of the home either welcomed what came in or turned it away. Old worn-out shoes left near that entrance created an image that many families found uncomfortable. Shoes, in Chinese symbolic life, carry associations with the path a household is walking, its direction, its forward movement. Worn-out shoes at the doorway suggested a household that had run itself down. Exhausted, depleted, that is not just tidiness. It is the threshold saying, "We are well. Come in." In modern Chinese homes, particularly those with built-in entryway shoe cabinets, a common feature of Chinese apartment design, worn-out shoes tend to disappear into storage or out of the home entirely. The logic is quietly maintained even when the words for it have been forgotten. Number 7. Broken umbrellas. The reason begins with a sound. In Mandarin, the word for umbrella, san, is a near homophone for the word meaning to scatter or to come apart. That sound link gave umbrellas a particular sensitivity in Chinese cultural thinking, and a broken one, with a bent spoke or a mechanism that no longer closes properly, amplified it. But the symbolism goes deeper than the wordplay. Think about what an umbrella actually is. It is protection. The thing you hold over yourself and the people you love in a storm. A damaged one is a damaged shield. Keeping it in the corner of the entryway, that first space the home presents to the world, felt to many families like quietly accepting inadequate protection as a standard. Some families traditionally disposed of broken umbrellas away from the home, not left inside, not thrown near the entrance, removed entirely. The reasoning is rarely spoken today, but the outcome is the same. Number 8. Artificial or dried flowers. This is one where generations quietly disagree. Many modern Chinese families keep artificial flowers, particularly high-quality silk arrangements, without much concern. They are practical, they stay beautiful, they require nothing. But walk into the home of an older Chinese relative, and you may notice those flowers are gone. Or never there. The tradition runs deep. Fresh flowers, peonies, lotuses, plum blossoms, have been cultivated in Chinese domestic life for over 1,000 years. Each one carrying associations with specific virtues, specific seasons, specific aspects of a well-lived life. Artificial flowers are static, unchanging. They imitate life without being alive. And dried flowers, particularly wilted ones, were seen in many traditions as beauty preserved past its natural season, holding on beyond its time. In a culture that places great value on natural cycles, on things arriving and passing in their proper season, a flower that refuses to change carries an unnatural stillness. The preference in many older households was simple: fresh flowers, replaced as they fade, or no flowers at all, the living thing, or the honest absence. Number 9. Damaged chopsticks. At the dinner table, this object carries more weight than it appears. Chopsticks have been part of Chinese domestic life for over 3,000 years. In Confucian thought, the shared meal was the central enactment of family harmony, a daily ritual that expressed the bonds between parents and children, between generations, between the living and the memory of ancestors. The tools of that meal carried meaning accordingly. Splintered, cracked, or unevenly matched chopsticks at the family table were seen as a fracture in that harmony, the wrong kind of image at the center of the most important daily ritual. There was also a layer of hospitality. In Chinese dining culture, damaged chopsticks placed before a guest were a form of unintentional disrespect. Whole chopsticks were a quiet form of care. Many Chinese families today, particularly older households, check their chopsticks and replace damaged ones without ceremony. It is a small habit, but the meal it protects is not small at all. 9 items in, and all of them share something. They are about what a home should not look like from the inside. But the next set goes a step further. These are about what a home communicates to the world, and to fortune itself, through the way it holds its objects and tends its spaces. Number 10. Cacti and sharply spined plants indoors. Cacti and sharp-spined plants are often kept in Chinese homes, just not pointed inward. The principle underlying this comes from ideas about how the arrangement of a living space affects the people inside it. Sharp, pointed objects directed toward the center of a home were seen as aggressive, cutting, introducing a hostile quality into the environment where a family sleeps and eats and gathers. Sharp things were welcome as protection, facing out, guarding the home from the street. But turned inward, they changed character entirely. In modern urban apartments, where balconies and windows create a clear exterior, cacti are often placed near the outer edge, following an older spatial logic in a very new container. The principle survives the architecture. Number 11. Leaking water containers. A home should hold what it receives. Water has one of the most consistent symbolic positions in Chinese culture, flowing through ancient Taoist texts as a metaphor for wealth, for abundance, for the gathering of good things. A leaking vessel carried the opposite picture: resources escaping quietly. A household unable to hold what it had gathered. A cracked teapot dripping onto the counter. A pot with a hairline fracture, losing a little with every use. A storage container that never quite seals properly. These were not tolerated as minor inconveniences. They were replaced, because in many Chinese households, maintaining containers in good repair was never purely practical. It was a signal the household was sending to itself. We tend what we have. We do not allow things to slip away. Number 12. An empty rice jar. For most of Chinese history, rice was not simply a food. It was the line between scarcity and sufficiency. To have rice was to have life. To let the jar go empty was to stand too close to a memory that many Chinese families carried in their bones. Famine, hardship, the knowledge of what it meant to go without. In many households, particularly in rural and southern China, the rice bin was kept at least partially full as a matter of both instinct and principle. Allowing it to run completely empty, even briefly, even when you knew a refill was coming, felt wrong. It felt like tempting something. The custom of restocking before the jar reached the bottom became built into the rhythm of family life, not as a rule, but as an instinct so deeply absorbed that it no longer required explanation. In the kitchens of Chinese families today, in Beijing, in Guangzhou, in Singapore, in Toronto, The rice container is rarely allowed to empty completely before it is refilled. For some, it is simple habit. For others, it is the quiet continuation of a very old understanding. A full jar means the household is held. It means the family will eat. That feeling does not need to be explained to be real. Number 13. Cracked bowls and chipped plates. Picture a grandmother in Guangzhou, noticing a chipped bowl at the dinner table. She does not explain a theory. She simply removes it. Because in many Chinese homes, a broken bowl is not just damaged porcelain. There is a Chinese idiom, 吃破饭碗, which literally means to break one's rice bowl, and is used in everyday speech to describe losing one's livelihood, being dismissed from work, having one's source of sustenance cut off. The bowl, in Confucian household thought, was the vessel of the family meal, the container of daily sustenance, the object at the center of the ritual that held the household together. A cracked one at the table was too close to that idiom for comfort. Many Chinese families today keep a careful eye on their everyday dishes, not out of perfectionism, but out of an old instinct that the bowl should be whole if the family is to be whole. A small chip on the rim, barely noticeable, but in many Chinese kitchens, it is enough to quietly end that bowl's time at the table. Number 14. Objects whose names sound like misfortune. In Chinese culture, sound can shape feeling. The Chinese language, particularly Mandarin and Cantonese in the South, has an unusually large number of homophones. Different characters, different meanings, but the same spoken sound. And over centuries, those sound coincidences became a kind of invisible architecture inside the Chinese home. The number 4, C in Mandarin, sounds identical to the character for death. Across China, Hong Kong, and much of East Asia, buildings have historically skipped the 4th floor. Elevators skip from 3 to 5. Apartment numbers avoid the 4 entirely. The same logic touched objects. Giving a pear as a gift, li, sounds like the word for separation. Giving a clock, as we heard earlier, sounds like attending a funeral. In some southern dialects, gifting shoes sounds too close to the word for evil. Families with this tradition were careful not only about what they kept, but what they brought through the front door, what they gave and received, what they named. The system varied by region. Cantonese homophones are different from Shanghainese, different from Hokkien, but the principle was consistent everywhere it lived. Language and objects are not fully separate. What you bring into your home carries the sound of its name with it. And the sound of its name means something. Number 15. Worn-out brooms and cleaning tools. The broom, in a traditional Chinese home, was never just a cleaning tool. It was the instrument of renewal. In the days before Lunar New Year, one of the most widely observed traditions across Chinese culture was the Great Sweep. Saochen. Every room, every corner. The accumulated dust of the whole year, the stale energy of everything that had passed, swept out from the home to make space for what was coming. The broom was the primary tool of that act. And there was an important companion belief. Once the new year arrived, the broom was put away. Sweeping in the first days of the new year was seen as sweeping out the fresh fortune that had just entered. A worn-out broom, frayed, damaged, no longer able to sweep cleanly, was considered incapable of doing its work properly. Not just practically, symbolically. A broom that could not clear the old year cleanly was a broom that could not open the home to the new one. Many families replaced their brooms before the New Year sweep, ensuring the tool of renewal was itself fresh. In modern Chinese households, this timing is often still felt, even when the specific belief has gone quiet. A worn broom before the new year. It gets replaced, because if the home is to be renewed, the tools of that renewal should not themselves be worn away. Many of these traditions began in a China that no longer exists in the same form. In courtyard homes, in villages, in households navigating life with far fewer material comforts than most families have today. And yet, they continue. Quietly, often without explanation, passed from grandparents to parents to children in the ordinary rhythm of daily life. A grandmother removes a cracked bowl without comment. A father replaces the broom before the new year. A mother keeps the rice jar full. None of them may be thinking about Confucian philosophy or ancient homophone logic in that moment. They are just doing what their family has always done. And that, perhaps, is the most honest way to understand these 15 habits. They are not primarily about superstition. They are about the desire to keep a home ordered, healthy, and whole, to keep it oriented toward life rather than toward endings, to keep it feeling like a place worth coming back to. Sometimes, understanding a culture does not begin with its monuments. It begins with the quiet things a family chooses, generation after generation, not to keep. If you like our discussion today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next video.